You will marry me! I can't marry you! You will marry me! But you're so old! No! Christine will marry me! You? But you're so short! Seriously? Short? That's what you're gonna complain about? Wait! I know! I'm the perfect person for you! Hi! I'm ready to get married! No offense, but you're rather short. Seriously? I'm short? You're complaining that I'm too short? I guess I can make do with this. Great! Double wedding!
Elisa.
Holy crap! Who's there?
It is I, your angel of music.
Father? Is that... Wait a minute. You!
Is that the Phantom Reviewer? Have you hacked my webcam to spy on me?
Oh yeah, when Eric of the novel watches Christine through the mirror, it's romantic. But if I watch you eat and sleep and get dressed 14 hours a day, it's creepy. That's double standards.
Damn right it's creepy. Get out of my laptop or I'll send you to my Norton quarantine.
Oh, shut up. Anyway, it's not just pervertedness that brings me to you this day. I actually want to talk to you about Love Never Dies.
The name that must not be uttered!
I know you absolutely hate it, but I thought maybe you'd be interested to see my copy of the new Blu-ray of the Australian version. They've made lots of changes to the stuff that people didn't like about the London version, so maybe in time you could grow to like Love Never Dies, as I have done.
Not going to happen. Love Never Dies is a disgrace to the name of Phantom and bastardizes the poor characters for the sake of sappy melodrama and plot twists, and it's a carbon copy of every 12-year-old fangirl's first awful fanfic.
Yeah, I understand, but you haven't seen it live like I have. I was like you, honestly. I hated the idea of a Phantom sequel. And when I listened to the soundtrack, I didn't like most of the songs, but when I saw it live, I was emotionally involved with the appeal of these timeless characters. Just seeing the Phantom and Christine back together again, the freak show atmosphere, the amazing animatronics, the lighting, the visual effects, all these cool elements formed into a dramatic whole.
You're a dramatic whole, and so is Andrew Lloyd Webber for setting this on Coney Island. There was no beauty underneath in Coney Island. It was ugly on the outside and the inside. It was just a cheap excuse for spectacle. At least the Parisian everyone wears masks masquerade metaphor makes sense. This is at the expense of the themes of the story, just so he could have a roller coaster on his stage. But since I do have to own everything at least marginally related to Phantom, I guess I'll watch this just once, and then I'll be done with it.
Beneath the opera house, he's always there. He watches phantom films down in his lair. And though he's too ugly to e'er get laid,
Well, Elisa, it's lovely to have you on board. Now you sit back and relax, and I'm going to tell you all about Love Never Dies. So, we all know the story. Nobody wanted it, critics hated it, fans hated it. I quite liked it. If you want to know my thoughts on the whole show in depth, go and check out my previous Love Never Dies review of the London production, which I've seen twice. But overall, yeah, I'm aware that it's got many faults, but I enjoyed it. I found it entertaining. But let me just summarise my thoughts with a brief clip from that special. Love Never Dies has won me over with its curious charms. Yes, it's full of retarded moments, bad lyrics and a terrible plot, but its own brand of phantomy magic and occasional flashes of genius more than make up for it. It's entertaining. When it comes to Phantom adaptations, I don't really ask for any more than that. I just want it to be phantomy and to be entertaining. If reviewing every single Phantom movie has taught me one thing, it's that when you look at it, they're all terrible. Even the good versions are pretty awful when you stop and analyse it. Like, imagine if the Robert Englund version was announced today. The internet fanboys would all bitch and moan and set up petitions and Facebook groups saying, "Oh, it rapes the original, oh no, Eric's a serial killer, Eric sleeps with prostitutes and it's got devil dwarves and time travel and modern day elements. Oh, isn't the plot horrible?" And yes, you'd be right. If you put aside all those retarded elements, you have a genuinely entertaining adaptation, one that many view as one of the best versions. That's like Love Never Dies. Put aside the stupidity and enjoy it on its own merits, you'll be much happier. Now, that review was of the London production, and this Blu-ray is of the Australian production, which has had a complete facelift. It's much more interesting looking and a sumptuous production. There's been quite a few changes to some of the stuff that annoyed people, including me. Now, the Blu-ray looks amazing. Although this was filmed in front of a live audience, it feels more cinematic than some of the other really useful group DVDs we've had in the past. A lot of the time you forget that you're watching a stage show and it feels more like a movie. Now, Alyssa, you've got to admit, there are some moments of real beauty in this show, aren't there?
Well, there was. And you know, I think The Beauty Underneath is a frickin' awesome song.
Ah yes, I'll get to that a little bit later. First of all, let's talk about the opening. The London production had this long-winded prologue with Madame Giry and the Freaks, and yeah, it just went nowhere. That's been totally cut. And we get straight to the good stuff, Till I Hear You Sing, which is arguably the best song in the show.
The silent days till I hear you sing once more.
Now, in the original production, this came about 15-20 minutes into the show. It came after the prologue, after the overture, Heaven by the Sea, which has been completely cut out. The song Only for Him, with Meg and the chorus girls talking backstage, has gone.
Gone? All gone?
Now, I would have preferred a slightly slower build-up of tension instead of curtain up, oh, it's the Phantom. But I kind of get why Lloyd Webber did it. Probably wanted to reassure audiences. Let them hear a really good song at the start and they'll think, I've heard some bad things about this show, but this song's pretty good. Maybe this show won't suck after all. Now, here's as good a place as any to say it, but my only real gripe with this Blu-ray is that the Phantom isn't being played by the incredible Ramin Karimloo. I don't understand why they cast him in the 25th anniversary performance, which he was great in, along with Sierra Boggess, who was also great. They originated these roles in Love Never Dies, and they didn't get to do them in the Blu-ray? That doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess Lloyd Webber was trying to be like, oh, I want to be true to the Australian production. That's okay, but since when did Donny Osmond ever play Joseph in a stage version? You know, he can pretty much cast whoever he wants. And it would have given us nice continuity with the 25th anniversary Blu-ray. One would follow to the other. That would make sense. I've got nothing against Ben Lewis, he's a pretty good singer. But I'm sorry, when you compare him to Ramin Karimloo, there's just no competition. Maybe he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I can't think of anyone better in that role who I've seen for a long time. And he had such a good rocky voice, particularly in songs like The Beauty Underneath. Ramin's version just is leaps and bounds ahead of Ben Lewis's.
Every year to go, past the world you think you know, enthralled to the call of the beauty underneath.
Have you ever yearned to go past the world you think you know, been enthralled to the call of the beauty underneath? When you stare behind the night, can you glimpse its primal might?
When you stare behind the night, can you glimpse its primal light? Once you hunger to possess, hunger that you can bring forever.
Yes, Ramin. Do it to me now. Yeah. I mean, come on, girls, just look at him. He's gorgeous, isn't he? And that takes a lot for this straight reviewer to say. There are things I like about Ben's performance. I think he's got a great look. He's really tall. He reminds me of someone who might have come out of a Universal horror. His amazing eyes have that sort of Boris Karloff vibe. I don't think he even blinks. But unfortunately, his acting isn't all that great. in some places it's really over the top. Oh, sorry, I should have said spoiler. Probably some people didn't want to know that the end of this show took place on a pier. Yeah, there's something weird about his speaking voice. It's like he's channeling Bela Lugosi.
Does the young Vicomte play?
Or the Count off Sesame Street. This boy is 10 years old. Yeah,
And speaking of the Phantom's characterization, alright, I understand it's been 10 years.
10 long years.
And he's getting older, even though he looks 10 years younger. But what happened to all of his energy? All he does is stroll around on the stage in a stately, sophisticated way. He's supposed to be a manic artist, a wild musician fueled with passion. Did they think he wouldn't have enough sex appeal if he acted any more emotional than Javert? I hate that they played it safe with him.
Now, one criticism I had of the original London production was that the music and setting seemed to suggest this sort of dark Coney Island carnival with loads of freaks and oddities, and later versions of the London production did try and introduce things like the bearded lady and just giving us a bit more freaks for our book, but the Australian production excels itself in that regard. And look, we've got a real midget as Miss Fleck. I love the way they just swing her around like that, and I love her little bat outfit. That's so cool. And slightly cute. Miss Fleck is creepy in this one as well. It's like she's the hybrid of Heath Ledger's Joker and that messed up baby from The Passion of the Christ. It's a shame the awesome 3D projections out of the original London production aren't present in this, but it's still a visually impressive scene nonetheless.
The character of Meg Giry's been toned down considerably in this one. The scenes where she has her little fangirl squee to the Phantom have been deleted, and she's not as much of a bitch up front either. In this one, she's actually looking forward to seeing Christine again.
And I will show you all the sights, Manhattan's noise and Coney's lights, friends at last again, just the same as then.
Also, Madame Giry is nowhere near as evil and over the top as in the London version. In the London version, she had a massive rant where she filled in all the backstory of how she smuggled Eric out of Paris. But it was done to the Phantom's face. It really removed some of the menace from the Phantom, I thought, to see him being pussy-whipped by this Frau Blucher-esque hag.
She betrayed you, shunned you, and despised you.
But in this one, she sings it all to Meg, so it makes more sense. The Phantom gets to retain some of his dignity.
I could not disagree more. This version of the show may have cleaned up a lot of the mess that was in the first version, but there is one thing that they really should not have cut out. It's bad enough that Meg and the Phantom never talk to each other until the end of the show, but the Girys have no interaction with the Phantom, and the relationship is never shown to the audience. They keep telling us that they've been with him for all these years working together, but we never see it, and so it doesn't matter to us that he's inconsiderate to them.
Now, here's as good a place as any to talk about Raoul and Christine. In this one, Raoul's played by Simon Gleeson, and I have to say, he does a pretty good job. He manages to elicit some sympathy. He doesn't come off as a moustache-twirling villain, which is the impression you can get from the original London cast recording. He is sympathetic somewhat. He's just really annoyed at the way his life's turned out, and how he's basically screwed up his privileged life. Christine's played by Anna O'Byrne. Now, she also has some pretty big shoes to fill, and I have to say, she succeeds. Her voice is excellent, and one of the best things about her performance is her acting. She really gives Christine a bit more depth. Now, as I've said before, both Christine in Love Never Dies and the original Phantom of the Opera, she doesn't have much depth. She's pretty one-dimensional, damsel in distress sort of chick. Here, Christine has some real fire inside her, and she gets downright furious when she realises that the Phantom's been pulling strings to get her to New York.
So it was all an empty lie, one final lie to fool us all, to make your death our story's end, to put your life beyond recall. How dare you come and claim me now? Invade my life, ensnare my voice.
I really like this aspect of the character. This girl just don't take no missing from nobody.
My Christine.
Your Christine. I was yours one brief night long ago, with a man that I no longer know.
Now, one of my problems with the original production was that the Phantom wasn't really all that fun to me anymore. He didn't kill anyone, he didn't threaten anyone. I suppose he grabbed Raoul's neck, but who of us wouldn't want to do that? And a lot of the time he seemed almost subservient to Madame Giry. However, in this one he's given back an element of menace. When Christine, not surprisingly, says, "No, I won't sing your stupid song to the local Coney Island hicks," this time he has something to bargain with.
One song. That is all I ask.
Why should I? For 10 years you've let me believe you were dead. And now you lure us here and expect me to do your bidding. Submit to you again. I won't do it. I owe you nothing.
Mother, please, I'm scared. What a dream, an awful dream.
We're in Phantasma, little Vicomte, on Coney Island. A world of fantasy, where illusion is emperor.
Why so worried, Christine? It worked for Michael Jackson.
Tell me what you want to see. Madam, please, I insist.
So yeah, there's a hint that the Phantom might abduct, or even kill, poor little Gustav, a poor defenseless little boy who's only 10 years old.
10 years old. Do this kindness for your mentor or your progeny. That perfect specimen may disappear on Coney Island. Vanish here on Coney Island.
What are you saying? How could you? After all that we've been. Who are you?
I am your angel of music. I am dying, Christine. Suffocating here in the dark. Give me breath. Give me life. Sing for me. Or I will take from you everything you have ever loved.
No, you can't.
Oh, but I can. A man as hideous as this, believe me, is capable of any...
Now, I like that addition. It gives the Phantom some of his evil groove back. Too little too late, perhaps, but an improvement.
You're crazy! Why would he do something so cruel and awful just to hear her sing? That is the lamest reason ever. I'm sure he could have gotten her to sing some other way. If he was trying to get her to leave her husband, maybe, that would have justified such a villainous deed, but just to hear her sing a song? I know they were trying to make the Phantom darker and all that, but still, that's lame. Like, ooh, what's dark? Blackmail. Yes, he's gonna be a jerk to her. Ooh, yeah. Just to get to hear her sing? Stupid.
There's no pleasing you. You moan when the Phantom doesn't do anything. Then the Phantom threatens to kill a little child, and you moan about that. You're a typical woman. You don't know what you want.
Though, the good part of this being added in was that at least gave him a character arc. He does something wrong, and then makes up for it when he realizes the error of his ways.
Take him now. Take him and go. Go now, be free, but swear one thing to me. He will never, ever know.
Really, the only other person with a character arc in this entire show was Meg, and then hers was never even resolved. It was more like a character cliff.
I'm so confused.
The song Dear Old Friends has had an extensive rewrite, and it sorts out some of the problems I had it with the first time around. Namely these.
It can't be you. This is a jest. How can this be? We've come to work. At whose request? The contract's here.
I want to see.
Whoa, since when were Raoul and Madame Giry sworn enemies?
But in the new version, they're much more pleasantly surprised to see each other.
You! My God, it's you! It can't be true! Is this a dream? It's been 10 years. What brings you here? Who do you think? Christine.
And gradually, over time, as they unravel what's going on, they become more suspicious and callous.
My dear old friend, it's becoming clear, old friend, someone's overlooked his leading act.
Well, double booked, to be exact. Now, my old friend, can you clarify, old friend, this Mr. Y with whom we signed, who hides behind the pseudonym?
You haven't guessed.
I've no idea.
It's him.
Him?
That's what I said.
You work for him.
Now you do too.
And my poor wife, we thought him dead. She'll be appalled.
Unless she knew.
It's a much improved scene, and I expect we can thank Charles Hart's rewrite for that.
Isn't fair.
We need to think.
I need some air.
I need a drink.
My poor old friend,
Now,
isn't
we
this
come
a
to my favourite sequence in the show.
I want to know what you think.